Hello mga katropais! Welcome to AcaDV. In this video, i-aim nating may strengthen ang knowledge sa theories and concept by applying them in the sample problems. Kaya stay tuned until the very end. Kasi dito sa PICE-PUPSC Academic Division, we leave no one behind. Have fun learning and enjoy! Today, ang i-discuss natin ay laws of radicals. So before tayo mag-proceed dun sa sample problems, kailangang mabalikan muna natin yung mga basic ng laws of radicals. So ano nga ba yung laws of radicals? Una, the nth root of A, kapag rinaise natin yan sa n, equal siya sa A. So para makakancel lang yung exponent na n at saka yung index na n. Next, the nth root of AB. Kapag ganito naman, isi-separate lang natin yung A at B. So magiging the nth root of A times the nth root of B. Next, the nth root of A over B. Halos the same lang ang gagawin. Isi-separate ulit the square root or the nth root of A over the nth root of B. So kung dito sa pangalawa ay multiplication ang involved, dito sa pangatlo ay division ang involved. Next is the nth root of A raised to M. Equal siya sa A raised to M over N. So, yung index natin parang magiging denominator siya ng exponent. So, ang next is the mth root of the nth root of A. Equal ito sa the nth root of A. So, mamumultiply natin yung dalawang indices. So, proceed na tayo sa sample problem. Problem number 1, simplify the radical expression, the cube root of 8y cubed. So, sundin lang natin yung laws of radicals. Separate natin, magiging the cube root of 8 times the cube root of y cubed. So, ano ba yung cube root of 8? That is 2. Multiply natin sa cube root of y cubed, makakancel yung exponent at yung index, magiging y na lang. So, ang final answer natin ay 2y. Next, the square root of 64y cubed or a cubed all over 27b raised to 4. So kapag ganito, isi-separate muna natin yung sa numerator and denominator. So the square root of 64a squared all over the square root of 27b raised to 4. And then, separate natin 64 or square root of 64 times the square root of a squared all over, or a cubed rather, a cubed. And then, multiply natin sa the square root of 27 times the square root of b raised to 4. So, ito pala ay raised to 4. Next, what is the square root of 64? That is 8. And then, what's the square root of a cubed? Wala. So, if a-factor natin siya, doon sa factor na may square root. So, that is a squared times a. And then, ang 27, yun din, wala siyang, hindi siya perfect square, pero may factor siyang perfect square. And that is 9. So, 27 is 9 times 3. And then, ang b raised to 4, ang square root niya ay b squared. Then, simplify natin. Maging 8 times the square root of a squared times the square root of a all over the square root of 9 times the square root of 3 times b squared. Then, simplify natin. 8, copy natin. Square root of a squared, that is a, times the square root of a. All over, what is the square root of 9? That is 3. The square root of 3, b squared. Pero, tandaan natin na kailangan pa natin i-rationalize yung denominator kasi bawal yung may radical sign sa denominator. So, i-multiply natin yung numerator at denominator by the square root of 3. And then, magiging final answer natin ay 8a, the square root of, ipagsasama natin yung mga nasa loob ng radical sign, magiging 3a all over 3, or square root of 3 times square root of 3, that is the square root of 3 squared. Makakancel na yung squared, so magiging 3 na lang siya. So 3 times the square root of 3, that is 9. And then copy p squared. So ito na yung ating final answer. Next is 5 the square root of x raised to 4 all over 9 or square root of 9x. Kapag ganyan, just copy 5 and then what is the square root of x raised to 4? That is x squared. Kasi nga, mahahati lang yung exponent kapag kinukuha natin yung square root. And then, square root of 9 times the square root of x. Then, simplify natin, magiging 5x squared all over, what is the square root of 9? That is 3. Then, copy the square root of x. And then, remember na kailangan din natin itong i-rationalize kasi nga, bawal yung radical sa denominator. So, multiply natin both ang numerator and denominator by the square root of x. So, magiging 5x squared, the square root of x, over 3x. And remember, meron pa silang factor na pwede nating matanggal. So, ano yung factor? Pareha silang may x. So, pwede natin ito matanggal at pwede rin natin ito matanggal. So, ang final answer natin would be 5x, the square root of x, all over 3. So, ito na yung ating final answer. Next, the square root of 98 minus the square root of 50 plus the square root of 32. So, mapapansin natin, itong mga numbers na ito ay hindi perfect squares, but meron silang factors na perfect square. So, ano bang factor ng 98 na perfect square? That is 49. So, 98 can be written as 49 times 2. The same rin sa 50, 25 times 2. At sa 32, it is 16 times 2. So, gamitin natin laws of radicals, magiging the square root of 49 times the square root of 2 minus the square root of 25 times the square root of 2 plus the square root of 16 times the square root of 2. And then, what is the square root of 49? That is 7. Copy the square root of 2 minus square root of 25, that is 5, square root of 2, square root of 16 plus 4, the square root of 2. And then, just perform the operations. 7 minus 5, that is 2, plus 4, that is 6, and then copy square root of 2. So, ang final answer natin ay 6, the square root of 2. Last, problem number 5, simplify the radical expression, the cube root of 2x raised to 4 minus the cube root of 16x raised to 4 plus 3 times the cube root of 54x raised to 4. So, ang first step ay kunin natin yung factor or kunin natin yung perfect cube. So, dito, hindi perfect cube ang 2, pero ang x raised to 4 meron siyang factor na perfect cube, and that is x cubed times x minus the cube root of 8 times 3. Bakit 8? Kasi 8 is a perfect cube. And then, x cube ulit times x. And then, add tayo ng 3, the cube root of factor ng 54, that is 27 times 2. I'm sorry, this should be 8 times 2. And then, 27 times 2, multiply natin sa x cube at saka sa x. So, dito, magiging the cube root of x cube times the cube root of, ano lang yung natira? 2x. And then, the cube root of 8 times the cube root of x cube times the cube root of 2x. I-add natin sa 3 times the cube root of 27 times the cube root of x cube times the cube root of 2x. So, medyo mahaba siya. So, what is the cube root of x cube? That is x. And then, just copy the cube root of 2x. Minus, what is the cube root of 8? That is 2. What is the cube root of x cube? That is x. And then, copy the cube root of 2x. Add 3 times what is the cube root of 27, that is 3. And then, what's the cube root of x cubed? That is x. And then, multiply natin yan dito sa the cube root of 2x. So, itong 3 times 3, pwede na natin siya masimplify as 9. Okay? So, perform na natin yung operations. So, x minus 2x, that is negative x, plus 9x, that is 8x. And then, copy the cube root of 2x. And this must be the final answer. Maraming salamat ka-Tropais. Remember that you are never alone in this journey. Nandito ang PICE-PUPSC Academic Division to guide you. Because here, we leave no one behind. Never lose hope, our future engineer. This is just the start.